viewers, what if we told you that if you wake up tomorrow and type your name into Google and its AI tells the world that you are a fraud, that you run a scam, that you are linked to criminals? You know it's false, your family knows it's false, but millions of people see it as the first answer on the world's biggest search engine in its AI search overview section. So who do you sue? The algorithm, or do you sue Google? A German court has now delivered a landmark answer that could change the future of artificial intelligence globally. Now, the case began when two Munich-based publishing companies discovered that Google's AI overview was falsely linking them to scams, to subscription traps, and dubious business practices. Now, according to the court, the AI had mixed up the information about completely different companies and presented those claims as fact. Even more significantly, the court found that some of the statements generated by AI did not appear in any of the websites that Google had cited as the source. So let's graphically explain to you the details of the entire story, what this actually means, because this is a landmark judgment that has come in. So let's break it down for you and get you the details. Now, what the ruling has said is, of course, against the AI by Google. When you go to Google and when you search something, you will see an AI-generated answer that comes in. So this is a ruling against Google's AI that has come in from the German court. Now, the case was filed, like we mentioned, by two Munich-based publishers, and they were the ones who had approached the court regarding the same after AI falsely linked them to scams as well as fraud. Now, what the court has said is that AI overview is Google's own content. Now, remember, in this case, while Google had cited some websites, it never had any link to what was being claimed. So AI overviews traditional search results, and that was what was observed by the court as well, that Google's verify the links defense was completely rejected because they had given some links, but it did not throw up the very same results. So the court actually said that the AI created claims that were not found in any of the sources that were actually claimed by Google in its AI overview. So Google was ordered to stop these false claims completely. This is what happened in the court, with Google now bearing 80% of the legal costs, and there is an appeal as well that is likely to come in. So this ruling could actually shape the future of the artificial intelligence liability. Now let's talk about how the two publishers first sent Google a cease and desist notice, asking the company to stop spreading the false claims. They in fact alleged that Google did not respond adequately. They then approached the regional court of Munich, and then they sought a temporary injunction to stop the AI overview from continuing to publish what they said were false and defamatory statements about their business. So Google argued that an AI overview should be treated like traditional search results. The judges completely disagreed, and they said that a search engine merely points to users to other websites. An AI overview does something very different because it reads, analyzes, combines, and then rewrites and presents information in its own words. And that makes the AI summary a new independent statement and therefore Google's own content. And that is where the problem comes in. So why does this ruling actually set a precedent? Let's actually break it down for you and get you the details of what it actually means. What are the precedents that have been set by this? What it actually means is that the AI output is actually the platform's content. Now, remember, this ruling is very, very important. Firms are liable for the AI responses. Now, that is what the court has said. Apart from that, AI is not equivalent to the traditional search engines. While that has been claimed multiple times, AI is not a traditional search engine. And the claim that is being made often is that you have to verify the information yourself is not a defense, because look at what happened in this case. So the AI summaries are facing bigger legal tests now. Now, AI cannot actually hide behind algorithms, and also going on to say that defamed users get legal remedy. That is what the court has actually shown us in Germany after this ruling. Now, Google also argued that users could verify the information by clicking on the source, the links that are given in its AI overview. Now, the court has completely rejected that defense because it says that AI overview is written as a complete, self-contained answer that most users are likely to rely upon without actually checking every source that is mentioned. So the court added that the possibility of fact-checking later does not remove Google's responsibility for what its AI has already stated. Because the AI has already stated it, how can it be denied later? Now, the judges also went a step further. They said the legal protections that apply to traditional search engines do not automatically apply to AI overview as well. Those protections exist because search engines index third-party content. So AI overviews that is being seen many times, when you Google something, you'll see it yourself as well, the AI overview that comes in, that actually generates new statements after synthesizing information from multiple sources, because Google designs the AI, controls the algorithm, and also chooses to publish the output. So the court actually went on to say that Google can be held directly liable. So the regional court of Munich issued a temporary injunction ordering Google to stop displaying the false claims and has now directed the company to pay 80% of the legal costs. Google has responded by saying that it invests heavily in the quality of AI overviews, that the vast majority of its responses are accurate, and that AI can sometimes miss context or misinterpret information. Now, the company has said that it is reviewing this decision, which is not yet final, and it is expected to challenge the ruling. Now, the question is, why does this ruling actually matter? Let's explain it to you on why this actually matters, not just in this case, not just in the case of the company, but to the entire world, because this is a landmark judgment. AI companies face bigger legal risk, and this AI did it. It's not us. It was AI that gave this answer. This may no longer be a defense. So that is the precedent that it sets, that higher fact-checking standards are now likely because of this one case in Germany. This could serve as a wake-up call, and platforms may verify responses better, and big tech may redesign their AI products completely because of this incident. So that's the reason why this ruling actually matters. Now, the ruling could also influence courts globally. This was a verdict in Germany, in Munich, but this could have an influence, and it could be cited by courts globally. Now, users may get stronger legal protection. So if it happens to you here today, or for anyone else anywhere else in the world, then this ruling by the Germany court could actually be cited. So there could be greater emphasis on source accuracy by these AI overviews as well. So there are multiple implications of this as well. Now, the implication is that the AI answers are treated as original publications. Many actually go on to say that AI is seen as a publication, the original publication. Another implication is that Google held as direct publisher of these replies. So who becomes a publisher? Not any of the websites that I mentioned, but it becomes Google. The implication being the AI-generated defamation attracts liability, because this is not coming in from any other source. This is actually coming from Google. So the liability, where does it lie? Not with the sources mentioned, but it lies with Google, which brought in this AI overview. So the operator is directly responsible for the AI output, and AI opinions get lower free speech protection. Apart from that, the Digital Services Act, the safe harbor, is also very limited in the case, and that's the reason why it becomes very significant. Now let's also talk about how AI overviews are designed to reflect information that already exists on the web. So how do you look at all of these responses that have come in from Google. What Google has actually gone on to say is that the AI overview is designed in a way that it reflects information that already exists on the web. And Google says we invest deeply in the quality of AI overviews to ensure that the overwhelming majority of the responses provide accurate information and that they are designed to reflect the information that exists on the web. In fact, AI overviews, as said by Google, can occasionally miss context. So Google admits that it can miss context and also misinterpret the content that's available on the web, just like traditional search results. And then Google says that we are carefully reviewing this decision, which is not yet final. This is a statement that was given by Google. Let's go across to an expert to find out the implications. What does it actually mean for you and me, for people across the world? Mr. Pawan Duggal, cybersecurity expert, joins us on the broadcast. A very good morning to you and thank you for joining us. It's a very, very landmark judgment and you have often spoken about cybersecurity. Tell us your key takeaways from this judgment from the Germany court.
The judgment is not just reflecting the hopes and aspirations of people, but more significantly, it is actually correctly interpreting the evolving principles of AI law. One thing is very clear, service providers or AI service providers who are providing AI services can no longer claim the statutory exemption from legal liability traditionally given to them under safe harbor. The reason was very simple. The original safe harbor was only meant for those service providers who were dealing with third-party data, which they did not have any control with, and therefore they could not be made liable. Same is the position in India under Section 79 of the IT Act, which says that by and large, if you're a network service provider or an intermediary, we will not make you liable for third-party data, provided you fulfill certain conditions, you comply with the IT Act, you exercise due diligence while you discharge your obligations, you do not conspire or abet in the commission of any offense, or once the government calls upon you to remove or disable access, you do that expeditiously without vitiating the original electronic evidence. But that was the era of 2000s. We are now in 2026. When an AI generates an AI summary or an overview, it is not any third-party data. It's the original data that's being generated by the AI algorithm of the concerned service provider, taking in mind a lot of inputs. Considering the fact that AI today is hallucinating, considering the fact that it is giving deliberate false information, I think the court is bang on target when it says Google will have to be liable. It's not just Google. Any service provider who provides any AI output, one must now wear the uneasy crown of legal liability. Why? Because nobody asked you to give a black box. Nobody asked you to give you an AI overview without ensuring that the same was not accurate. And in case if there is hallucination or fake information or falsities as an integral part of the AI overview process, then you have to take responsibility for the same. I think this is the emerging trend that's happening globally. What the German court has said is a step much beyond what other courts have said. And this German precedent, I think, could be a very valuable precedent for courts across the world as they now come up with the contentious issues of not just making AI accountable, but also going ahead and identifying the liability of AI-generated content.
Okay, so bigger accountability, that's what is a precedent that has been said. But how do things change for companies like Google, Microsoft or OpenAI? And are we looking at decisions that will be made by these companies to also ensure that such mistakes become lesser and lesser? So more checks on these AI results.
I think there will be now more focus amongst the companies to make sure that hallucination gets minimized, that there's lesser and lesser of false information or fake information. Why? Because they now realize that they have to stand up against a portal of legal liability across all jurisdictions. And that being so, if they are not going to do their homework, they will land up fighting many battles. Yes, the judgment of the Munich court has come in. They'll have options of appeal. They'll go up and appeal. For the next 1-2 years, it'll be those scenarios where companies will be in a denial mode saying, no, I'm not liable. So let me go up and appeal. The court has wrongly interpreted the provisions of law. But I think once the writing gets clearly written on the wall and visible to these service providers, they will begin to start taking cogent due diligence mechanisms and steps so as to prevent the inclusion of false or fake information in AI summaries or AI generated data.
Okay, all right. Mr. Duggal, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and bringing us a larger picture of what this actually means. My colleague Sabyasachi is also on the broadcast with us, getting us the details of what happened in the Germany court. And Sabyasachi, what were the legal reasons? Because this becomes a very landmark case and it's going to have implications not just in Germany, but across the world, isn't it?
Well, that's right, Pratibha. It's a landmark ruling because the court clearly cited that whatever the AI says, you have to own it. So basically, the Google has to own whatever the AI says. Now, understand that the normal search engine of the Google, where they used to provide links, was much safer and they were not liable to legal aspect. But with the AI overview coming into aspect and with the summary that they are providing, they are more liable for legal scrutiny, and this in fact will now affect not only Google but the other AIs that exist in the country, whether you talk about ChatGPT or other AI. Now, but definitely, Pratibha, it's a landmark ruling that has come in from the Germany court against Google, and they have been asked not to give any sort of wrong summary or wrong details, because the two companies based in Germany, publishing companies who had approached the court, filed injunction against Google. In fact, they had said that the summary was coming out, was showing that these companies are fraud, they are doing scams, whereas after investigation it was found out that the summary was wrong because it was taken from some sketchy company. So clearly the court ruling is quite significant, and it's definitely going to have an impact on the other AI platforms as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us with all those details, Sabyasachi. And on that note, it's time for us viewers to slip into a very quick break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.